What's going on, everybody? I am Kimba Garcia out here in Irving, Texas for the SRC Summit. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Kimba Garcia live here at SRC Summit with Kenny from Pandit Law.
Yep, Kenny pulling Pandit Law. We're a law firm based out of Louisiana, but we work in Mississippi, Texas, and California, and a few other states. We focus on first-party property claims. We work with a lot of the firms that I'm seeing here today. We also do some partnerships with other firms in states that we aren't in. Our biggest focus lately has been in Louisiana. There's been so many changes in the laws that we are trying to get contractors up to speed. There's been really a sort of a 180 in terms of the way that the Department of Insurance and the state of Louisiana deals with contractors, and it's highly focused. It appears to be focused on roofers. So we've been putting on some training classes with roofers and plumbers and a handful of other types of contractors to just sort of get them caught up on the changes in the laws and how they can adhere to the current laws, and some of the things that are regular practice in other states are no longer allowed in Louisiana.
I was going to say, are these new laws something that can get the contractors in trouble?
Absolutely. So basically in Louisiana, contractors, let's say a roofing contractor, can no longer at any point discuss an insurance claim with a homeowner. Basically, they're allowed, they can see that there's damage, they can discuss that with the homeowner, but even if the insurance company reaches out to the contractor, they basically legally can't really respond. If they do, they can be charged with different crimes, one of which is a felony. Sounds kind of crazy.
I do think that is so crazy. I'll tell you that I've been a contractor for almost 11 years now, and there is a piece of me that still, I'm like, man, I feel like we almost have to dance a gray line just to do our job. So my question for you, Kenny, like if I'm a contractor and I'm out in Louisiana and I got this homeowner sitting down, right, and they're like, well, what's going on with my roof? Should I file an insurance claim, or should I, like, what should happen? Here's my question for you. At what point should the contractor hand the baton to the law firm?
Pretty much once it becomes a claim, and believe it or not, they've actually kind of done similar things to the PAs. So the public adjusters are severely limited in Louisiana now also. There's something, I'm not an attorney.
Sure,
okay?
Yeah. We'll preface that. He's not the attorney.
I'm not
but you work in the attorney firm.
Right, but basically what I can tell you is that public adjusters are not allowed to discuss the merits of a claim. And if you think about what that means, what a merit of a claim could be, that obviously it basically forces people, if they're not gonna take the first thing that the insurance company's given them, it pretty much forces them to go to litigation, to go to a law firm. And you would think that, like in our it's great for us, if you will, but I feel terrible about it. I actually came to this firm because they represented me on my house. That's kind of how I got here. And I'm not, I wasn't a contractor, I wasn't an attorney or anything like that, but basically sort of seeing it from that side and coming this way, I feel like it's very unfair for people. So we've done a couple of things. We've adjusted some rates to sort of help people if we can get it done pre-litigation. The other thing that we've done is we really wanting to work with with as many contractors to not only bring them up to speed on the laws, but show them avenues that they can do on their end so that it doesn't even need to go to a law firm, right? So and that, you may think that may hurt us. The goal for us there is to build the relationships and the trust with those contractors so that it ultimately, when they do need us, they come back.
Yeah, that's how I am too with my consulting. I'm like, let's talk about what makes sense to put on the attorney's desk versus what doesn't make sense to put on the attorney's desk.
Right.
Everybody has their role, but I've also been seeing that, and I've been in this space, like I said, I have PAs that are my friends, that are my people, right?
Yeah.
And I've been seeing them be severely limited on what they're able to push on and do, and so we are kind of having to team up. But I actually love that you came over from the perspective of a homeowner, because sometimes I talk to my consultant clients, right? So I'll get on the phone with the roofer and the policyholder, and they'll be asking me, well, what is our options? And I'll outline to them, well, our goal is not to necessarily get your insurance company sued. It is to do it in pre-litigation. But I love that you guys are working with the contractors on what they can do up until that point to hopefully try.
Right.
Is this something that you feel like has been isolated to Louisiana? I know you guys are in a couple of states. Have you seen it anywhere else?
From what I understand, and again, coming from outside the industry up until recently, from what I understand, the state of Louisiana is trying to move more along the lines of the laws in Florida. And I wouldn't say that they're identical by any means, but some of the things that they've done are definitely, pro carrier.
Sure.
There are some even roofing companies that are happy with sort of the way that things are changing. And I think the positive side of that, the goal was to not have as many, fly-by-night companies and have more reputable companies dealing with people, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is what we're seeing is in some instances the state or the Department of Insurance is going after, or in some cases the carriers are actually going after contractors or going after public adjusters. So like I said, what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring people up to speed on that and let them know how we can help them. And then when it comes to just regular claims, we do have a pretty substantial team in terms of our own staff, experts that we bring on, to help with things, and ultimately our goal is to get things settled and so forth, and get people, what they need for their house. And like I said, coming from that side of it, that was a big deal for me. I come from a largely law enforcement background, so just the idea of still trying to help people, and for that it was an easy transition for me. So
I actually really you brought up a point though, that when you said it, I was like, man, I actually really kind of like that too. You're like, roofing companies kind of like some of these changes, and I'm just sitting here thinking, because I know a lot of roofers, and I know a lot of attorneys, and they're not the same guy, you know what I mean? And it's important for people to be in their lane, like people that are really great builders and really great contractors, especially me knowing a little bit deeper into the legality side of things over here, right? I'm like, y'all don't always know what you're talking about, and that's not really your lane. So some of these changes that are happening, it's like from a contractor perspective, honestly, I'm like, I've always had to walk a gray line to do my job, but then now that I know more, I'm like, it does make some degree of sense that an attorney needs to step in and do what attorneys do when it comes to reviewing policy, reviewing coverages, and being able to step in for that policyholder. It's not even about we should all be working together to do what's best for the policyholder. And when the attorney can come in and review what coverages that they should have and what damages that are present, I think that maybe, as much as I guess it hurts my contractor feelings, if I'm prioritizing the policyholder, maybe that is actually for the best, and maybe some of these guys that like to do things the right way are starting to see it that way.
It is, and I think that's the goal. And with us, like I said, we really work to and I keep using that term, to sort of bring people up to speed or level up, if you will, so that they are in a better position to do their job and even give the proper advice.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've done, and by the way, we do these in New Orleans. We occasionally go outside of New Orleans to do these classes, but we bring in different industry experts to provide that sort of added benefit to the contractors coming, and there's no charge for this. We do this for free. One of the biggest things I love to come into things like this is looking for things that I see that benefit roofers or benefit plumbers or anything else. And if I see something here that I feel like is a good service, I get their card and share it with these guys and say, hey guys, I saw this, etc. And I just feel like that ultimate relationship is sort of what we're trying to do more than anything at Pandit.
I love that. Well, Kenny, it's such a pleasure to meet you. So how long have you been in the industry?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. So how many of these conferences have you been to?
3.
And?
This is great. I love it. This is absolutely awesome. I like the venue here. I think it's easy to get to each person. Overall, I think that I see some familiar faces, but a lot of new ones, and that's fun. I see different services that I haven't seen. I've seen some really impressive AI sort of based stuff here. I've seen a handful of other things that I found interesting. But ultimately, I think, the industry itself, and again, I'm new to the industry, but what I'm seeing is almost more of a more professional direction, if you will, and that's what
I'm calling it the polish up. It's like the same industry. We're just going to polish it up just a little bit.
I like that. Yeah, that's actually really well stated.
Like you got here when we're going from the coal to the diamond. So welcome to the industry. But that's why I wanted to ask that, because I'm like, I have old eyeballs on it now. Like I've been doing these things for a minute now. So I'm like, so what's it like being the new guy in the room? How does it feel in here to you?
It's not a problem. I guess I get along with people pretty well. But no, I find it interesting, and I'm still sort of looking at it from that homeowner side.
Homeowner side, yeah.
And I do the same thing at my law firm and drive some of the attorneys crazy, and
but that's what's cool.
Advocate for every client that I bring on. I'm definitely an advocate for them. So.
Same. I love that. Yeah. This is a very interesting space though, because you do have you've got software nerd guys, AI nerd guys, you've got attorneys, and then you've got blue collar people, right? That it's just a really cool mix of expertise and of personalities and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I wonder what it feels like to swim in here as somebody fresh and from law enforcement, which is a whole different, probably, I don't know, I've never done law enforcement, but probably different animal for you.
I mean, it is, but I also I sort of had a straddled career where I also spent a lot of time in corporate America. So it's really great, and I've seen sort of in the last three shows that I've been to are definitely a progression that I feel like each one is slightly, I guess, more professional and more tool oriented for people to do their jobs better and cleaner.
Do you want to know my favorite thing about SRC specifically?
Tell me about it.
Okay, there's a couple data points we got to talk about, all right? Because since you're new here, just so you know, 14% of this entire industry is female. Okay, 14%. 1% is females that are in leadership or ownership roles. This conference is ran by April Hall, so I'm a big fangirl of April, because I think that it's amazing that I'm 14% of us are women in general, 1% of us are leadership, and this one beautiful queen stood up and said, you know what, I'm about to host one of the best damn conferences in the roofing industry.
I love it. That's awesome.
And if you see her, she's tall, beautiful blonde woman in a green dress. You can't miss her. But I just want to say thank you, April, for putting on SRC and creating this space for us to come together and have these types of conversations. And Kenny, thank you so much for allowing me to pick your brain. Absolutely. One final thing for you, okay? We're saying most of the people that will watch this will probably be contractors. I hate to call it an audience because that sounds strange to me, but those are my peeps. Yeah. Okay, those are my peeps. So if you had one piece of advice in general, it doesn't even matter what it is. From your specific, we're all little snowflakes, right? You come in from law enforcement, you come in from corporate America, you're working with this law firm now, you're brand new to the conference space. If you could say something to that demographic specifically right now in 2026, we're running into the year of the horse. All these people, they're all hyped to grow, they're confused on changes and challenges that they have going on, but whether it's person to person or business or whatever, what would you say to them? It's just kind of like a takeaway.
Honestly, I think it's important to intend things like this. I think one of the biggest things, you use a great term, polish up. A lot of people can be good at what they do, but when you come and expose yourself to, to maybe other things that are out there, I saw my mind blown this morning, or just seeing somebody set up and what they were doing. I had not seen that before anywhere, and so I think that would be it. Sort of as a tongue-in-cheek comment, I would say don't talk to the police. And then as a girl,
use your right to remain silent.
As a girl dad, April, that's really awesome. I can really appreciate that. It's really excellent.
Beautiful. No, thank you. We appreciate the guys in the industry that cheer us on, because believe it or not all of them do. Some of them are, and this is my podcast, so I'm going to say this. Some of you are douchebags, all right? Some of you just are, and we really appreciate the ones that come into the space and cheer us on, because it takes a lot of, I host some events too. Yeah. It takes a lot of work to put something like this together, and so it's really awesome. But that was great advice, Kenny. So I'm a nerd. I study a lot, and a lot of the things that I've studied, I talk about this a lot. But what you were just talking about in science in our brain, it's called neuroplasticity, right? You get in rooms where you see new things, you get exposed to new people, new ideas, and new pathways actually start to form in your brain. Like coming to conferences actually makes you scientifically smarter because you do.
I think it does. I really do. No, I think that's accurate because my mind, in terms of my schedule and what I'm setting myself up to do for the next 2 weeks, has changed based on a couple of things that I saw today. So.
Yeah. So the investment to like these spaces are investments to come in. You just have to be willing to walk up and start having conversations. But like you said, most of the people here are super cool. So, because I see some people, believe it or not, Kenny, there's people that are like, maybe social anxiety. They're nervous. They think, they don't know. They
I do see that, especially like for me at least, what I've seen recently is in some of the blue collar trades, the people who are actually up on the roof, not necessarily the owners and things like that, but the people that we're working to try to help, if you will. And especially in the plumbing world, believe it or not, a lot of those guys are kind of quiet. It's kind of funny. But there's definitely a reason to come to something like this. Like I said, I love the way that you described it. That's pretty good.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Kenny, and thank you for being. We're rolling out the launch of this podcast, so you're going to be one of our. Well, I've got 4 shows recorded, a couple more that we did today, but and I'll say it this way: you'll be one of the ones that will be up the very longest. So that's amazing. It was a pleasure to meet you. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Me too.